Why don't we hop into the news with our first story? And it's kind of a twofer, but I guess we'll call it the werewolf double feature because we got two trailers, and we kind of just decided to do this as we were about to hit record for Shaky Shivers and, of course, My Animal. Two very different films, both involving werewolves, and I mean that in the sense of just on the spectrum of what they are. Shaky Shivers is like a horror comedy, very clearly we see that up front, and then My Animal is this very looks like intense horror drama. And you know, like I'm interested. I gotta admit, I don't think either of them have really blown me away with these trailers. I'm not like, oh my God, chomping at the bit. I was really excited about the concept of Shaky Shivers. So when I see this footage and I see this trailer, it's a little bit of just like, oh, okay. Don't know necessarily if that's what I was looking for, but I mean, I it's Screambox, and they've been so nice to us and everything, and I trust them in the sense of them picking this up as an original because they've done a really good job with selecting their originals since they've been starting up. So if they have faith in this, then I gotta imagine it's got a little more bite than the trailer gives. I just thought that the tone overall, the trailer, and maybe the way the trailer was cut was it left me a little mixed. How do you feel about this one, Luke?
With Shaky Shivers, I think last time we covered it was more so where I started kind of getting that feel of what I was understanding of what this was going to be, where they were going to lean a little bit heavier into comedy. And I think from that point on, I was kind of, you know, more so touch and go with it. So seeing the trailer was pretty much what I was expecting for this to be now. I mean, they could have pulled back and maybe we're going to lean a little deeper into the horror when we get into the actual film. I don't know necessarily if I see that. It just, even the trailer seems to be specifically cut for comedy. So I think maybe that they're going to kind of just meld in the werewolf idea with a little bit more comic relief in a lot of sense. I don't think we're going to get a ton of gore from Shaky Shivers. I don't think necessarily that's what they're set out to be doing, and more so, just to have a good time with a werewolf.
Mm-hmm.
I think what we see in the trailer is probably going to be in line with what we get feature wise. And then with My Animal, I mean, with that one, jury's out for me. I think at some aspects of it, I like that they're kind of, I think film should be reflective of more of what society should be. So I like that they're kind of going, a route in terms of the romance angle of something different than what we normally see. It seems more real to me. But I think for me, this kind of is a little bit in danger of feeling like more teen, if that makes sense, where I don't know if it's going to hit in terms of that darkness. Now, I mean, the trailer, the idea for these werewolf things is always, you don't show the creature. Usually it's quick cuts if you show anything, but so we didn't really see it in any aspects for too long, if any, in any of these trailers. Now, My Animal, they didn't really spend too much time on that. It's real cut, just with the romance angle for it. So I'm curious to see how far they're going to lean into horror. I think the jury's out in that aspect, whereas Shaky Shivers, I think it's just going to be more so a full-on comedy.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Shaky Shivers is going to be a full-on comedy there. As far as My Animal goes, I've actually been following this since somebody on Instagram posted about it on Sundance when it premiered there. Just because obviously it's werewolf content, so we're going to be on top of it. And I know I mentioned it to you. I had been circling. I think I ended up following the director on Instagram because obviously we're circling for those interviews and opportunities to talk to creatives. If you're doing a werewolf project, we want to talk to you. But it's one of those things where this was something that I guess I could say I was anticipating. But seeing the trailer now, this does look like a little bit more of a more somber Ginger Snaps in a
Yeah.
sense, but like Ginger Snaps is gonna be, it's almost unfair for me to make that comparison because like Ginger Snaps is Ginger Snaps. Like, I mean, it's had 20 years to basically like become one of the more iconic werewolf films in cinema. And if you're a werewolf fan, there's no reason why you don't love that movie. But for this, I don't know. I'm intrigued. The thing that does kind of deter me a little bit is just the way it was cut, and from what they showed of the wolf. I'm worried that it's going to look more like a standard wolf and less
Yes.
of the monster. And we love our monster werewolves. So it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like it's going to lean a lot heavier on the romance thing, which is not bad. I definitely am still intrigued. I'd still love to see it, but it's just not really what I was hoping for, I
Yeah.
guess.
I think with that, it's going to lean heavier. I feel as it does concentrate on it in the actual trailer itself, where it's like it's probably going to that romance angle is probably where they're going to lean a little heavier into. I don't expect us to get a lot of gore here either. I don't think they're
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. I think it's a fun kind of twist where it's like, we're going to tell a romance story with a werewolf. We're not telling a werewolf story with romance, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Yeah, and both of these movies, I mean, we're probably going to see Shaky Shivers in theaters. Not gonna lie,
Yep.
I mean that's going to be available to us. With our relationship with Screenbox, I don't know if they're going to send screeners out for that one, so we might get an early release. But if it's really good, we'll probably end up going to the theater to see it, just because it's going to be like a fun experience.
Yeah.
Because they're doing like a double feature this October with that, and I forget what the other film's called, but
I can't remember.
yeah, but no, it's gonna be a fun time for Screenbox at the theater here. But yeah, no, I'm very curious, and we don't have to wait long for either of these films. Like
No.
both of them are next month, I believe. So very very intrigued here, very interested. Obviously, it's werewolf news, werewolf movies. We had to cover it.